Well, welcome back, my gardening friends, to December's plot tours, progress and jobs for December. And as you can see, we've got lots of bags of leaves there. I've got 24 bags now in total. There's 8 bags in the double pallet bin. That's settled down now, so I can continue topping this up. The comfrey has now died right back, and I shall probably tidy that up, get that material in the compost bin, or it'll be layered in my new raised beds, and the sticks can go in the bottom as well, but it'll be nice just to tidy that area up. Another job for December is to remove my wormery. Somebody wants that, and then I'll be able to stack all my cardboard that I've got all in one place. As I say, the last couple of days it's been dry but very, very cold and frosty, so you still can't do anything. And Mrs. King's got a big job list for me, so I haven't been able to do a lot. The compost runoff bin's doing really well. It's settled down nicely. I noticed a few holes. I thought, oh no. And I thought, well, what's happened here? Then I've noticed some gnaw holes there. Then some there. So it looks like the rats have decided to work their way in, and there's all the remains of this piece of wood, and they're just going in and out now through that gap. So I need to plug that as soon as possible. I've banged the compost bin as hard as I could, but there doesn't seem to be any residents in there at the moment. But of course it's nice and warm in there and plenty of food. And as you can see, the compost runoff bin's doing its job, and it's overflowing again. Sometimes at this time of the year I just can't keep up with the amount of material that it's giving, but that'll be an ideal addition to the raised beds as we build them. Still haven't done anything with the banana skins, and there's the juice there in the middle, and the containers in the middle of the screen, they also need draining, and the banana skins putting into the compost bin. Well, most of them anyway. I could do with moving this compost as well, because the weather's not going to get any better. This area here will get left until spring. All the creatures that may be living in there can continue. Nothing's hurting. It's there for a reason, to help our wild insects, creatures, everything else. The asparagus, that looks now like it's dying off, so that can be a little job I can do during this month. And once the crowns have died right back, I'm going to take those out and I'm going to give them away. I've got the strawberry towers to dismantle. I'll be using some of that soil in the raised beds. And there's the hardwood cuttings that we took earlier on. And the 2 smaller pots are the ones that we grew from seed, the blackcurrants. Now this manure runoff bin, that's the strong stuff. That's what we got early on, and it's been producing really well. And considering how long it's been there, there's not too many weeds. It's a little bit hard at the moment because of the frost that we've had overnight, and all the liquid runoff has gone into that 45-gallon drum. I believe I called it a 450-gallon drum once before, but it's just one of those steel barrels. So that steel barrel, we've had that much runoff from that, I would say 1.5 cubic meters of horse manure. which again will be spread on the beds when we need it. This is the grapevine that's at the greenhouse, and we now need to get that prune back to 2 or 3 buds. Now I can see what we're doing. You might not be able to see. I shall cut these back now. Cut them right back what we don't want, and 2 or 3 buds where we may get a bit of fruit next year. So these are the pallets that I've got to make the compost bin. That'll be another job I need to get done either this month or next. I've got quite a few blue barrels that I've got to clean and get cut. Unfortunately, some of the stakes and support poles now have broken off. We did have some really high winds early in November, so that's another job I need to do before it damages anything else. Now that I've started gritting, especially with this weather, we were gritting night and day, and I've got to get the gate done at some stage, but I think December's jobs may end up in January as well. I'm going to take some kale today in December's vegetable harvest. It's looking quite good. The peacock white isn't faring very well, so I think all that can now come out. I've brought 2 bags of leaves here because they're going to be added to the no-dig beds, or the raised beds. Not all are going to be no-dig. I've got some material there, material there. Celery's had it, so that's got to go. Need to get that done. And another compost find. And I think I underestimated how much is here. I think there could be 1,000 litres. I did mention that I'd got over 600. Well, 1,000 is over 600. Let's have a quick look. These are 17 litre cloth square pots. It's very similar to what Steve uses at Digwell Greenfingers. I think there's about 25-30 of those. I've emptied 1 or 2 out. There's a few round ones as well. And then there was all this. Unfortunately, there's a few of the clay balls in there, but because it'll go in the bottom of the beds, I'm not too fussed. A bit of drainage, and for some reason they must have put these ornamental bits of stone in as well for drainage. But I'm thinking there's nearly 1,000 litres there, so that takes me up to 16,000 litres over the last 5 years. You've seen those big pallets. There hasn't been any more. I think somebody else spotted them and they've been taking them before I can get hold of them. I do need to get the parsnips tidied up now. You can see they've all died back, and because of how well drained the soil is, it isn't very hard, so I should be able to get a parsnip out there with no trouble, and we shouldn't have any issues in getting any of the carrots out as well. Still haven't cleared that up yet, mind you. If I had done the rat, I'd only took it. So I do need to harvest this giant cabbage. This celery needs pulling out. I'll be revealing these carrots on Christmas Day, on the Christmas Day harvest, ready for our Christmas lunch. And I do need to get some Jerusalem artichokes out if they're not frozen solid. The broad beans have got a lot bigger now, and I should be able to start tying them to the canes. I did put some smaller sticks in to help support them, but the frost, they do bend over, but they do recover. And I am expecting them to go black anyway and then reshoot from the bottom. These are the ones that have just started to grow, and you can see they're going black. but hopefully I can get those in the ground if it thaws out enough. And I'll be taking some celeriac with me today. And again, I haven't tidied this up. This is one that's already had its head removed, and it seems to be coming back with vengeance without the green fly. So that'll be interesting to see how that does. I'll keep that one going. And there's lots of mushrooms growing, fungi, whatever. They're all growing in the compost. Well, shall we say the wood chips. Absolutely wet through they are. Moving into the polytunnel. The peppers have now succumbed to the cold, and the peppers that are left on aren't very good. I need to harvest the seeds out of those giant cucumbers. But these are just gone squishy. And I've put some to one side so I can harvest the seeds. I best do that soon, else they're all going to go mouldy. So we've still got carrots in the polytunnel. I'll get these leaves tidied up once all the leaves have fallen off the grapevine. But we've got 3 bays out of 4 left. So it'll be interesting to see how the carrots compare in here to the ones outside, and as I get towards the end I shall be doing a quick comparison. I'm going to be doing a different video on this red cabbage. It doesn't look like it might not go to seed, so it's got to come out, because this is where the compost bins have got to go, and I've got so much material that needs to go in here. I need to get this sorted out. So I'm looking forward to actually weighing this red cabbage. I can see it being a bit of a monster, and hopefully if it's bigger than the one that I took to Malvern to get 3rd, then with me sowing my seeds now should give it that extra bit of growth and maybe do better next time. There's no sign of the garlic. The leeks are doing reasonably well. Hopefully they're okay, but the remaining pips are doing fine. So if anything happens to those, I'll have these here to fall back on. So let's see what we've got in December's monthly harvest. So I grow my Jerusalem artichokes in the buckets, and it's pushed the bucket right out, and as before, or even worse this time, they've managed to escape the bucket, and there's quite a few large tubers in the open ground within that blue container. So I will have to have a rethink, and again William and Ryan will be laughing their heads off at me. I will have to look back and see how many tubers I put per bucket. I think I may have to just put 1 in. They're so productive, it's unbelievable. Well, I've just been giving these a good clean, and the Jerusalem artichoke said to me, I think you'll be needing that brush later as well. Oh dear. Well, I've got what I need, but some of those tubers were far too big, so I'll be taking those home and putting in the municipal bin that goes to the composting. No good taking more than I can actually eat or get rid of, and cleaning up the mess. So we ended up with a nice bag of kale. I'll share with my son, he'll get that blended. The cabbage, it's absolutely full of baby worms and slugs, and I think it's well frosted as well, so I might be able to get a couple of meals out of that now. The carrots are doing well again. We've just got one that was forked, but in a good way. We've got 3 carrots instead of 1. A little bit of canker on the parsnip, but again a good size. Some celeriac. enough Jerusalem artichokes for a couple of weeks. Very badly damaged bucket. And hopefully some enjoyable meals there. Today is December the 1st. Robin in the middle of the screen. Absolutely loves it when I'm doing a bit of soil moving. I'm really looking forward to starting these raised beds and adding all these materials, but it's still far too wet. Happy gardening to you all. Till next time, my friends. Ta-ra for now. And don't forget, hit the like button, consider subscribing, hit the bell for regular notifications, and I am trying to upload every Wednesday and every Sunday at 8 PM. We'll see you next time. Ta-ra for now.